So again, very warm welcome everyone, and thank you for joining today. So this is our second session of eight verses on training the mind. 8 verses on training the mind. I think last session we covered verse 1, verse 2. We listened to some teachings and reflected upon it. So today we will start from verse 3. And before we begin, I think I'll just share where everyone is joining from, just saying kind of hello to each other. So I think Christian is joining us for the first time, and maybe Serin is also joining for the first time. So Christian, can you just tell us where are you joining from? Say hello to maybe everyone. Yeah.
Hello, namaste everybody. I'm from the UK.
Thank you for joining. Good to have you. And I think Serin is also trying to maybe connect to the audio, which is not working maybe. Serin, are you there? Okay, the audio is not connected. So Ravi ji is joining us from Bangalore. Ravi ji? Yeah,
Bangalore. I'm from Bangalore.
Bangalore. Yes.
That's right. Thank you. It's lovely meeting
Thank you.
everyone.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Nandini is also joining us from Bangalore. Badal ji, Captain Badal is also joining from Bangalore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
Jasmine from Canada.
Hi, yeah, from Toronto, Canada. So, hi, nice to be here.
Yeah, good to have you. And Snehi, I think Snehi is in Bombay. And Serin, again, still not connected with the audio. So let's see. I think Serin is also here for the first time. So we will just listen to the 8 verses first in the voice of Tenzin Palmo, because if they are coming from directly from the masters, it's good to get the initiation. So we'll just first listen to the verses themselves and then take up the verse 3 for today. So I'll just play the teaching for all of us. So here she's just beginning to share all the 8 verses with us. 8 verses on mind training, which we are going to listen.
So I will just read it quickly and then we'll go through it verse by verse. By thinking of all sentient beings as more precious and wish-fulfilling jewel for accomplishing the highest aim, I will always hold them dear. Whenever I'm in the company of others, I will regard myself as the lowest among all, and from the depths of my heart cherish others as supreme. In my every action, I will watch my mind, and the moment destructive emotions arise, I will confront them strongly and avert them, since they will hurt both me and others. Whenever I see ill-natured beings or those overwhelmed by heavy misdeeds or suffering, I will cherish them as something rare, as though I found a priceless treasure. Whenever someone out of envy does me wrong by attacking or belittling me, I will take defeat upon myself and give the victory to others. Even when someone I have helped or in whom I have placed great hopes mistreats me very unjustly, I will view that person as a true spiritual teacher. In brief, directly or indirectly, I will offer help and happiness to all my mothers and secretly take upon myself all their hurt and suffering. I will learn to keep all these practices untainted by thoughts of the 8 worldly concerns, and may I recognize all things as illusions, and without attachment, gain freedom from bondage.
Yeah, I'm putting up these 8 verses in front of us. So we'll just go through them one by one. I think it's good to just look at them and read them out. So if one of you could read verse 1, which we have already covered, it would be nice to just listen it again for all of us. Just unmute and read the verse 1 for us, if anyone can do that slowly.
Yeah, by thinking of all sentient beings as more precious than a wish-filling jewel. For accompanying the highest aim, I will always hold them supremely dear.
Thank you, Raviji. Would anyone like to read the verse 2?
Yeah. First, consider myself as the lowest among all. Whenever I am in the company of others, may I regard myself as the lowest of all, and from the depths of my heart cherish others as supreme.
Yeah, thank you, Krishan. Yeah, would anyone like to read verse 3, which we are going to do right now after this?
In my every action, I will watch my mind, and the moment destructive emotions arise, I will confront and avoid them strongly, as they will destroy both myself and others.
Yeah, so thank you everyone for reading it out for us. We are going to listen to a short excerpt, not that short actually, it's a long one, but let's see, we can pause in between and then we can talk about it and share our reflections on verse 3. So I'm just putting it on. Yeah, it's this one.
In my every action, I will watch my mind, and the moment destructive emotions arise, I will confront them strongly and avert them, since they will hurt both me and others. So then, this is a very basic instruction. All of our actions, our speech, and our physical actions depend on prior intention. And intention comes from the mind. So therefore, if we have negative thoughts, we are likely to speak negatively and act negatively. Likewise, if we have wholesome thoughts, then we are likely to have skillful speech and kind actions. So the fact is that most of us, even though we live within our mind the whole time, we're always thinking. But most of us are not really very conscious of what is going on in our mind and what kind of thoughts we normally dwell with. Because a lot of our attention goes out through the sense doors to what we're seeing and hearing and tasting and touching, smelling, etc. And then our thoughts are tumultuously running along, putting it all together, making sense of our external reality, and at the same time being caught up in the past, all our memories and our ideas and our things which happened, an hour ago, a day ago, a year ago, a lifetime ago, or else we're planning and hoping and fearing for the future. The one place we have a hard time dwelling is right now, here. And so even our memories, of course, are very distorted. I mean, we think we remember how things were, but if we meet someone else who will happen to be around at that time and we say what happened, and they say, no, it wasn't like that at all. And they have a whole different version of what happened. Of course, they're wrong, but nonetheless, they're mistaken memories. So we cannot even rely on what we think, and yet we believe it. Because I think this, it must be true. This is how beliefs come about, right? Because I think it. If I think it, then it's right. And we don't even question that. We don't even look. And during the day, the whole time, we are swimming in this ocean of thoughts, feelings, memories, anticipations. But mostly, we're not even aware of what we are thinking. And that very much influences how we relate to others, how we relate to circumstances, what we say, and what we do. All of it comes from the mind. We cannot perform an action without a prior intention. Even if it's so quick, we normally don't notice it. But actually, before we say or do anything, there has to be a mental intention there for the body to respond, or the vocal organs to formulate speech. So it's not just enough to put a guard on our physical actions and our speech, as yesterday we were speaking about ethics and the ethics of not killing and stealing and being careful with our speech. But the prime source is our mind. And so therefore it's very important for us to begin to observe the mind. Now, of course, there are meditations where we can just sit and look at the mind for a shorter or longer period. But especially also during the day, we should have times when we just turn the attention in. And in this moment, what am I thinking? Just look. In the monastery, the ashram of Thich Nhat Hanh, they have something called a Mindfulness Bell, which goes ding, and then everybody stops what they're doing for just a few moments. And how is the body? What is the mind doing in this moment? Apparently you can get that appliance on your phone. You can have a mindfulness bell on your phone, and it will, again, just go ding. And I mean, you don't have to, especially not in your office, or if you're cooking. But what one does is at that moment, one just brings one's mind back into the present. In this moment, what is one doing? Physically, verbally, but especially mentally. What is the mind doing? And then, when destructive emotions arise, destructive emotions is this translation here for the word klesha. Klesha meaning something which afflicts us, which torments us. And so the kleshas are those negative emotions like our greed and grasping and anger, frustration, annoyance, aversion, all that cycle. And then jealousy, envy, somebody gets something I want, and so instead of feeling pleased for them, we feel upset and angry, and why didn't that happen for me? Why is it given to them? And pride. Pride in Buddhism doesn't just mean thinking that we are better than someone else. It also includes thinking we're worse than someone else, or that we're just as good as someone else. In other words, it's this feeling of I, again, at the center of everything, comparing ourselves endlessly with everybody else we meet. That sense that, you know, everybody else fits in accordance with my own assessment of who I am. So therefore, I am better than that one. I'm superior, but then I meet somebody else. Now I'm inferior, or else.
So just taking a pause here. Let's just take 2 minutes. We'll just stay with the breath, and then we come back for reflection at this and take up something later. So just 2 minutes. I'll tell everyone when it's over. We'll just stay with the breath. So anything anyone wants to share at this moment? Anything, any reflection coming up for whatever we have heard? Okay, so just come up anytime if anyone wants to share anything. So just reading out again. In my every action, I will watch my mind, and the moment destructive emotions arise, I will confront them strongly and avert them, since they will hurt both me and others. So I think I cannot reach this point if I'm not convinced that the afflictive emotions like anger, clinginess, attachment, greed, jealousy, and hate, blaming myself or others, victimizing myself or others, all that creates unease in me. I have to be really convinced that this is not the right way to live. Acting out from those emotions is not the right way to live. Once I've gotten convinced, then I become more and more conscious of whenever a ripple is arising. So if a grasping ripple is arising, now I'm conscious that, okay, here it is. And it's there in everyone. It's like we are not above it, right? If the egoistic demand or expectation from someone is arising, I'm aware that it is arising, and now I want to transform it or transmute it. Now I have acted from it enough. So that kind of conviction, I think, has to be there individually in all of us. Else there is no point. I'll not be able to be conscious. I'll be able to be conscious only when I'm sure now I don't want, I've walked that path enough, and I don't want to walk that path anymore, because it hurts me and others. As it says that since this will hurt me and others. So anger burns me, and anger burns also the other person. Jealousy burns me first, and then also sends out negative vibes to the other person, not goodwill, ill will. Jealousy sends out ill will to the other person. So now that I'm convinced, can I become conscious that yes, I want to do something about it. I just don't want to live its dictates. So that's very important, that conviction has to be there, else I don't know if one can do it. And this commentary, I have another commentary on the same verse. I'm going to read out a few lines just to add on. So, as an ordinary being, we have mental and emotional afflictions, just like we heard all these negative emotions. And in teachings in Buddhism, the roots of emotional afflictions are unwholesome mental factors and ignorance. So, ignorance of our true nature, basically. We don't know who we truly are. And in tantric teachings, the root cause of afflictions is dualistic clinging. So I consider myself this separate self, this limited entity, and I want to become full. So I cling on, I grasp to something which I feel will make me full. So the ego wants to cling on to either an experience that I have, or some name, some fame, a relationship. I can be clinging on to a relationship, something from the past that gives me a sense of self, so I cling to it. And how to work on it, they say that to work on it is to ride on the wind, and wind is breath. So when I get anxious, or when I get nervous, or when I get in hatred, or something is burning, so it first arises with a thought or a feeling, then it goes also, I sense that body is also uneasy, it's like tightness, constriction somewhere. And then if I want to deal with it nicely, I get in touch with my breath. So I don't keep in my thoughts in my head about the anxiety, nervousness, or whatever. I go directly in touch with the breath. I stay with the breath. I cling to the breath. And as long as that uneasiness in the body is there, I stay with the breath. And then gradually it just passes by like a fleeting something. But if what we usually do is that if anxiety is coming, hate is coming, anger is coming, we go into thoughts. what am I thinking about that person, or what made me angry. And that's why it comes again and again. It's like a loop in which we are stuck. So one of the ways is to work with the breath or the wind, to deal with these afflictions. And then they also suggest that in 37 practices of Bodhisattva, they say that when emotions become habitual, they are hard to get rid of with antidotes. And habit is created by me doing it again and again. So every time I see somebody doing something, I get angry. I don't challenge myself. I just look at the other person, and that person does it again, I get angry. This person does it again, I get angry. So I'm not conscious what's happening in me. So as if I'm creating a highway for myself, and I walk on it again and again, again and again, I create a groove for me. This is what how habits are created. So they say when emotions become habitual, it is hard to get rid of with antidotes. Therefore, with mindfulness and vigilance, that I am alert when it's arising, with mindfulness and vigilance, to seize the weapon of the antidote, and crush attachment and other negative emotions. The moment they arise is the practice of a bodhisattva. So once I'm convinced that I don't want this poison in me, then when in the moment when it's arising, I can be conscious and I can deal with it. I would not be habituated that, okay, anger, okay, shout or scream or whatever. Anger is arising and I am aware anger is arising, and I don't want to follow the dictate of anger now. I have followed the dictate enough, and I know it hurts me. So that's the practice of a bodhisattva, to see it arising and to transform it. And on this, I will just take a pause here, because there is something to listen to before we, maybe if somebody wants to share, we can take up reflections. So there are 3 short to 2 minutes practices, ways or tools to deal with negative emotions when they're arising, which we'll just look at in a moment. Yeah, so anything anyone wants to share at this moment? Anything coming? Okay. So I just assume that there is nothing coming. That's perfectly fine. I'll just switch between these screens. So there are 3 ways given to us uh, to work with these emotions, negative ones specifically. 2 minutes teachings are there. I'll just play them one by one. So the first way is abandoning. Let's listen to what this says.
So normally, in the Tibetan Buddhist meditation tradition, we have 3 ways to deal with emotion. So what we call abandoning, transforming, and seeing the nature of the emotion. So there's 3. So the first one is the basic, abandoning. So when we feel the emotion, what we have to do is don't let control by emotion. You bring the awareness and you notice and you catch the emotion. So then you let go the emotion. So main important for this is you try to abandon emotion. Try to get away from the emotion. And try many ways. Also reasoning. Okay, emotion, what is the result? If you follow the emotion, what is the problem? If you're free from emotion, what are the benefits? For, let's say, anger, hatred. So what is the result of hatred? You're not happy. You make others not happy. And when you're having hatred, more than 90% whatever you see is not real, not true. So you try to make reason, and then you try to be aware of yourself whenever the anger comes. You try to practice antidote, maybe compassion, maybe emptiness. Try to get rid of that emotion, get rid of anger, and you tell yourself, I'm not going to angry, I'm not going to angry. So that's the basic idea, which is abandoning the emotion.
So I think maybe some of us may have already, it's not that we are new to all this. I'm sure all of us have been using it even unknowingly, that there are these ways, abandoning the emotion, as he said, that when I'm convinced that this is not good, and Thich Nhat Hanh in one of the teachings, he shares that, for example, when anger is arising, visualize, what anger has done. It has created world wars, people drop bombs in anger. And then in that visualization, you see that what harm anger can do. And that visualization can help me to deal with my anger also. And as he was sharing that anger or hate or any afflicting emotions, as if they create a layer in front of me and I'm not able to see clearly. So, whatever story I am creating in my head out of jealousy, victimization, blame, anger, anything, it actually is not the reality. It's like I'm looking through a filter and I'm not even aware that I'm looking through a filter. So it's not the true picture in front of me. It takes me away from reality. So that's why when the next time anger arises, anxiety arises, to abandon, as he said, not to follow the dictate of it, because I know that it creates a confusion, it creates a layer in front of me because of which I can't see truly. And whatever decision I take, whatever words I say to another person in that kind of a state, they will be just full of, I'll have to be regretting later, if I become conscious that what did I say, I need not have said that. So we hurt ourselves and we hurt other also in that, confused and hazy state of mind. Yeah. So that was one, abandoning was the yeah, Jasmine, you want to share something? Please go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to share something that I'm currently kind of this on same lines. So, I am aware of what, like I have this knowledge and I have dealt with the emotions and experiences in the past before too. So this is my own intimate. I'm not going out blaming the other person, but within me that I'm struggling with is I have this memory of the past. It doesn't even have an emotion, but I have a memory of the past of an experience where somebody hurt me. And in that moment, I felt deeply hurt. And it's not like I am mad at them. It's not like I don't even think I have anything to forgive them because it is, what it is. But within me, I find that thing is still sticking onto me. And it's a weird experience. And in my relationship with that person is beautiful right now, which is another blessing. It's a beautiful relationship. Nothing there. I actually don't have anything with a person. But the memory comes again and again. And what bothers me is my own thing. Like I cannot sort of deal with it. It's so there is something there I don't understand why. I have all this wisdom that it's like I'm applying all these tools. And I even tried like dealing with my hurt, but it's just like it doesn't want to leave. Do I make sense? So I don't understand it. Or should I just wait and it'll go in its own time? I don't know. But it's a weird experience. It's very much in there, and it's like it knocks my door every time. I am happy, blessed, like fine with the person, but it's like a but it's just I don't want to leave it. I see that stickiness within me, but it feels as much as I know everything, I cannot leave it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Mm.
again, like it's not coming naturally. I cannot say, oh, it's wise to leave all that. It should come organically, like that. It's not coming organically to me. Like there are bigger things that I have let go, but it could be the little thing, but I don't know. And I see it's my own mind that wants it, or
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
I think whatever you said does make sense. Just a second.
And I'm not sorry, and I'm not sure if this intensity is something I had suppressed. It's coming out because I'm getting aware.
Hmm. Hmm.
Like I'm open to, I'm not
Hmm.
holding on to even this
Hmm.
experience. It's just
Hmm.
ongoing. I won't say its name. I'm not sure if it's just the intensity I never dealt with. Yes, it was there, but formally meditating or more aware or, more sitting with it. I don't know if the intensity is popping up. I don't know if somebody else had the experience. So again, not looking to resolve, I'm just sharing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, anyone else? Anything you want to share or add on?
Yeah, I was going to say about anger. Yeah, obviously the abandonment teaching is useful, and it'll be interesting to see the other two. For me, I think what was helpful is making the right assessment and realizing that people, they're not going to conform to your likes and dislikes and your expectations, and then just making the right assessment that people come loaded with, vasanas and predilections and whatnot. So, you can't expect the other to conform. So having the right assessment then takes that kind of pressure away of expecting the other to conform to your likes and dislikes. So having the right assessment. It's like my dad, for example. Now I know that it's his very nature. So your close loved ones, especially the ones who you live intimately with, they know how to press your buttons. They know how to get under your skin, and they're your best spiritual teachers in some ways. And if you make the right assessment and realize that this is their nature, then that takes half of the sting away. You just accept them for who they are. So that's my contribution.
Yeah. I think our experiences also let us know about this sticky nature of our ordinary consciousness. It's very sticky. It's almost like wet cement. So it's almost like in ordinary state of consciousness, it's almost actually like wet cement. Like what cement is. Any impression that comes, it leaves a trace, like a past memory. What Jasmine was sharing comes again and again and repeatedly it will come, as if you have to do something with it. It'll make you convinced that do something with me, because it'll come repeatedly. So it's as if that these just because my consciousness in which I live ordinarily, and it's with all of us, like we are not living alone, it's like we are in one boat all together. That's the human condition at the moment, that in the ordinary state of consciousness we are sticky. So whatever comes, it sticks, it leaves a very strong impressions, just like on a wet cement. And our task is to notice it, first of all, as we are all noticing in our own ways, that yes, it things do leave impressions on my mind. And the mind goes again and again thinking about them. To notice this first, then to see that it is the cause of suffering, it creates unease in us, and then to have these tools with us which make us more supple, like a sponge. Sponge has a impression, then it goes down and then it goes up again, it goes down and then it goes up again. So almost like that, we have to slowly, gradually transform through our experiences. So from a wet cement to something supple like a sponge. Okay, the pain came, the hurt came, and then gone. Now there is no trace left. So that kind of I think transformation is required at every moment. We cannot let go of this alertness. Even if I have traveled on this path for 20 years, doesn't matter how many years. So in 21st first year, if I lose the vigilance, I'm again wet cement. So that's how our somehow our situation is, that we cannot let go of this mental alertness even for a second. And the moment we do, it leaves an impression and the mind goes there again and again, again and again. So it's beautiful just to even recognize that this is how we operate. And it creates affliction. It makes us uneasy to be conscious of that unease also. Yeah, anyone else? Anything to add on? All right, so let's go and look at the next teaching. So this first tool was abandoning, and the next one is, I think, seeing its true nature, seeing the true nature of emotions.
So number 3, what we call seeing the nature of that emotion. Let's say panic. So when you look at the panic become pieces. The sensation, the image, the belief, the voice become pieces. And these are impermanent. Panic is changing. And it's multiple, many different pieces. And it's interdependent. Your panic has caused, conditioned so many, the physical body, all this together. So when you look at more into that, you will find those things. And if you more look at it deep enough, in the end, panic lost meaning. Hatred lost meaning, what we call emptiness. So your mind completely beyond the concept. Your mind cannot identify the emotion. There's awareness. So then you rest. So this kind of practice, there's normally we have two kind of practice. One with emptiness. So the emptiness, what I just mentioned you, this is the emptiness practice. So in the end, your mind see the emptiness, your mind has the experience of emptiness, and you rest in that emptiness. After some time, you will forget. Emotion come back again. Watch again. And the second one is normally what we call nature of mind practice. So if you receive nature mind teaching, if you recognize nature mind, then you don't have to even watch that emotion. The emotion, nature of emotion is wisdom. Nature of emotion is pure awareness. And you rest in that pure awareness, then the emotion lost power. So that's what we call self-transformation, or sometimes what we call self-liberation. Yeah. Thank you.
So in this, as he was sharing, I had one experience here which I want to share, because I think it really was, I was actually amazed and I was not expecting any result. I was just, I'll share what happened. So there was this something that happened, again, something outer trigger. And because of that, there was intense pain that I felt, too much pain. And I had been there before, so I knew that I don't want to follow the dictate of, say, anger or pain, right? So the pain is there. I don't want to follow the dictate. So what I did was, I said to myself that I'm going to stay with it for as long as it wants, to stay. So I was just lying down on the bed, and because it was just too overwhelming, whatever had happened. And I was just lying on the bed, and I was with my breath in the body. I was tuning in with the sensations. I was staying with the body, with the awareness of the breath. In between, my awareness would go to the thoughts. And I saw the thoughts as he was sharing that panic if comes. So panic has different pieces, thoughts, feelings, and the bodily sensations. That is, it's like different pieces on panic. So just like that anger or my pain, for example, that I'm referring to, it had different pieces. So I saw that there is a story of the pain. And if I feed the story by thinking, I'm actually making it go more and more and more, like round and round. I'm fueling my pain by thinking about it. So I was able to see this. So then the moment thoughts would come, I would see the thoughts, and then I would come back to the breath. And in the body, there was sensation of the pain. So I stayed with that. With the breath, I stayed with the sensation of the pain. Now, I had no idea what is going to happen, whether I'll be able. I was convinced that, okay, now today I'm going to just lie down on my bed because it was just too much. And I was amazed that after about 1 hour or so, lying like this, with the breath, with the sensation of the pain in the body, not fueling the thinking, uh, in awareness that yes, thought comes, but I'm not going to give them any attention. Like they are there, come and go, but I'm going to stay as awareness, rest as awareness of the bodily sensations and of the breath. And in 1 hour, I just got up for the washroom, and I was amazed that as if the pain was not there. I'm not talking of the physical pain, the emotional pain, as if there's shift in consciousness that had happened. So definitely I'll not be able to connect the dots, what happened and what did not happen, but it gave me a window, in a sense that it told me that I am the one who fuels the pain or suffering by thinking about it. Because I saw this happening, that when I was lying down and thoughts would come about the pain, the moment I would think about the story, I would actually increase the intensity. But the moment that I chose to come back to the breath and stay with the body, I something different happened, as if it was able to get transmuted. So this is what he was sharing, resting as awareness, resting in the emptiness, because awareness is emptiness. It's not whole, just like space is empty. Although things are there in space, but even if things are not there, space is always empty, space is always detached. The objects may be placed in space, but they don't touch the space. Space is always detached. So masters have also shared the nature of our awareness or consciousness. They have equated it many a times with space. Just like space allows things to be, awareness also allows things to be, and all the things are nothing but coming and going, like clouds and are coming and going and coming and going in the presence of this awareness. So that is one of the ways what he was sharing, resting as emptiness, resting as awareness, now choosing that I don't want to really follow the dictate. Yeah. Yes, Jasmine. Yeah. So just playing the last one that he has to share, Mingyur Rinpoche. So this was seeing their nature, and then we have transforming the emotions. How to do that? Let's watch.
The second way to deal with emotion, what we call transforming. So you transform the emotion. How to transform? For example, if that hatred comes, panic comes, jealousy, stress, you use stress as support for your meditation. So, for example, when you meditate, you be aware of the breath, right? Breathing in, breathing out, and the breath is support for your meditation. Breath becomes support for your meditation. So now, instead using breath, you can use the hatred, the feeling of when you hate, the feeling of tightness here, all these sensations. watch the sensation, there's the image, there's a automatic voice, all these things, then the hatred become pieces, and then you cannot really pinpoint, but you are just accepting the hatred, and then you transform into meditation. So that's one way transform. And the second, transforming into love and compassion. Let's say when you have this hatred and you understand, okay, I have this hatred, whoever those being who having this hatred, they are not happy, so you feel empathy, sympathy. Then you take what we call taking and sending practice. Then you take all beings' hatred into your hatred, and may my hatred become represents for all beings hatred. How nice. So then hatred transforms into love and compassion, something like that. So that's, you can apply with hatred, apply with panic. I did this when I was young. Anger, jealousy, stress, depression, low self-esteem, worry, whatever you've, or physical sickness also. So anything, any problem, anything you can transform. And if you have anything like happiness, virtuous thing, all these things you can give. So all these virtues give to others, and take negative emotion into your negative emotion. So taking and sending practice. This way you can transform the emotion into awareness, and transform emotion into loving kindness, compassion.
I think this one we have discussed many times earlier also, the practice of Tonglen. That if I am feeling jealousy, and in that moment, if I become aware of the jealousy and I know that it hurts, so can I make use of that on the path, not wanting to push it away or anything, that just like I am suffering right now with jealousy, this is how everyone suffers with jealousy. And you inhale all that suffering, everybody's suffering, and you exhale contentment and true joy and peace for everyone, including your own self. So this is a beautiful practice. And then as he was sharing towards the end, that when you get a sense of comfort and peace, you are peaceful, you are easy, you are joyful, in that moment you become conscious of the happiness or joy that is there, and you say that just like this I am feeling easy and happy and joyful, may everyone feel joyful and happy and peaceful. So you make use of either goodness or whatever arises on the path, we make use of that on the way. And Nehal, just a second, I'll just take you up. And the first part that he was sharing, that if stress is arising, use stress as a support to your meditation. So that is something like Ajahn Chah, one of the teachers in Buddhism, he would I think Thai Buddhism, if I'm not wrong, so he would suggest to his students, when one of them, he would give different practices to his students, and one of them came and said that I become very angry again and again, again and again. So he said, okay, make anger your object of meditation. So as he was sharing that usually we are sticking to the breath as object of meditation, instead of breath we make anger our object of meditation because it is arising again and again. So what do I do? As if I'm sitting and I'm trying to hold anger, like I'm, how we become angry, we are angry and then we are not angry anymore. So he said, you hold that anger state of anger when you are angry, and point at it, like give attention to it and hold it. And you would see, I've tried this, and I'm sharing that what happens is when we make jealousy, anger, or anything that is arising, stress, panic, our object of meditation, and you sit with that the whole time, then you see that you have to give a lot of energy to actually make it stable so that it can act as your object of meditation. So you realize its fleeting nature, that the reality that I give to anger, actually it's not that real, because I have to propel, as if I have to give fuel to it so as I can hold anger as an object of my meditation. And after you have done that for many hours, definitely you can't get angry the next time the ripple of anger arises, now because you have seen how fleeting it is, and it's me that one has to fuel it. I have to fuel it so that it can stay. So we see how futile it is to cling to the anger. So that's what he was sharing in the beginning, that you, if stress is arising, anxiety is arising, you hold it as an object of attention, just like you cling to breath as an object of attention in meditation. So it's a very wonderful experiment if one wants to kind of apply it on the path. Yes, Nehal, you wanted to share something?
Yeah, so actually, I have little doubt on this particular note, because these are all very negative kind of an emotions, and how it would be concentrating or focusing on these emotions, like if it's like if somebody is getting very violent, and if we keep on focusing on violence, how it is possible? And practically it's more exhausting, because it eats you away. So already you are half eaten, because you are already angry, and you are already violent, and then you want it to work as an object for your meditation. How it can go?
Yeah. So actually, when he says that make it your object of meditation, he does not say keep thinking about it. So if I am violent, if I am angry, I am not fueling by thinking about the story. When he says that you make it your object of attention, then you say, oh, I'm angry, I'm angry, I'm angry. And you have the bodily sensation of the anger. And you, as if when you close your eyes, you are this angry person, and you hold this image of yourself being angry, and you hold it in front of you, that Nehal is angry. How is Nehal angry? So you are not actually fueling by thinking about the violence of, or the storyline that created the anger. Because if you do that, you are right, that if you think about the storyline, then there is no way that you can transcend it or transform it. So good that you shared it, that we don't have to think about the storyline. We just have to look at ourselves being angry and hold it as an image in front of us, if that makes sense.
You mean to say we have to separate ourselves from that particular moment, and then look at it?
Yes. So for example, when in meditation, what am I doing? I am looking at the breath.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, there are two things: looking and the breath.
yeah,
So I think you said it rightly, that you are separated. You are looking at your angry self.
yeah.
So
Okay.
you are not thinking about the anger and the
Yeah,
storyline. That's not
you're
happening.
supposed to be the third person and then deal with it.
Beautiful. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, okay. But then why we want to do it this way? If we can do it with breath, it's fine and well, no? Or it's
Actually,
just a part of
why,
experiment.
as Kabir ji says, in one of his couplets, man ke bahut tak rang hai. So he says mind has so many colors. So at one point of time, the awareness tool may help you. At other point of time, in another state of mind, you may be helped by maybe some other one. So that's why we have infinite possibilities. So many masters have given so many tools, and all of them work. It's not like one is more superior and the other is inferior. All of them work because the mind has different states of being. They are changing every time. So at once, breath may work for me. At the other one, Tonglen may work for me. And another one, maybe this looking at the object and making anger as an object of meditation may work for me, because then it will tell me the futility of anger, the unreality of anger. So whatever works.
Yeah, but I think when somebody is dealing with very difficult emotions like panic, or being angry, or being violent, or being heartbroken, they are so much in the depth of this emotion that it's very difficult to separate out. अगर separate हो गए तो फिर कुछ बात ही नहीं है ना, कुछ डील ही नहीं करने को बचता है. You are almost done. But separate होना ही सबसे challenging है. तो वो कैसे करेंगे?
या बहुत अच्छा निहल. सो वो तब करेंगे when I am convinced that I don't want to follow the dictate of violence. If something in me is still not convinced, if I think that I will have my way if I follow the dictate of anger or jealousy or blaming someone, then nobody can separate. You're absolutely right. So when something in me is now convinced that I have walked on this path enough of anger, hate, jealousy, being victimized, I have walked on this path enough. It hurts me every time. It hurts other people. I don't get any result. Now I don't want to do it. Then you will do it. Else there is no possibility.
So I think we again come at the point of sincerity. It is all about being more sincere, and we need more determination to deal with this. This kind of
डिटर्मिनेशन की भी देखो नेहल, डिटर्मिनेशन की मुझे तब नहीं जरूरत पड़ेगी when I have suffered enough.
नहीं, पर कई बार ऐसे होता है ना कि हमने बहुत सफर कर लिया है, बट वी आर नॉट एबल टू कम आउट ऑफ दैट दैट सिनेरियो. चाहते हुए भी वो सर्किट नहीं टूटती है. आई रियली वॉन्ट टू बी अवे फ्रॉम माई एंगर और माई बैड इमोशन, बट मैं फिर भी नहीं डील कर पा रही हूँ कि भाई इसको सेपरेट करके उसके ऊपर मैं फोकस करूं और फिर वो धीरे धीरे निकल जाए. There has to be some lacune, even that either my willpower is little less or somewhere some sincerity is missing.
Okay. So, what I understand is, and please correct me if I don't understand correctly. See, we all have storylines in our head. We all have stories. In the stories, I'm wanting things my way.
Yeah.
If things are not happening my way, I get angry and violent.
Okay.
Right? यही होता है ना? If things are not happening my way, I get angry and violent. So something in me has to this is what we come to again and again, that I don't have to take my ideas and my opinions so seriously, that the way I think is right. Because if I take it seriously, then when things don't happen that way, it is impossible that I don't get angry or violent. But if I take my thoughts and what I want and my ideas with a pinch of salt, not that seriously, my ideas, others' ideas, how does it matter? No, we all have ideas. Then, when the things are happening in a different way, I'm not getting that angry because I did not hold my opinions so tightly.
नहीं, वो बात तो सही है. वो तो कहाँ से एंगर आता है उसकी बात है कि एंगर डेवलप कहाँ से हो रहा है. माय पॉइंट इज दैट एक सर्किट मेरी सेट हो गया है. मेड एंगर एज माय नेचर. सो अब कुछ भी होता है एंगर आ ही जाता है, whether it is happening according to me or not according to me. It has become a part and parcel of my nature, and I have understood that this is not correct. It should be corrected anyhow, because this shouldn't go further. It's not useful to me, neither it's useful to others. But the problem is कि मैं उसको separate out नहीं कर पा रही हूँ.
Okay.
नहीं हो रहा है.
Got
तो
that.
मैं उसको थर्ड पार्टी के जैसे कैसे देखूं?
Yeah, I think in this intensity, the intensity that you are sharing, you are absolutely right that in that, if you are able to separate, beautiful, but in that case, you are not able to separate. I think in this case, one which helps particularly a lot is just to become aware that I am angry. This you can do, right? So you are getting angry, but you are helpless about anger. You can't help it. Okay?
Yeah.
But you can definitely become aware of the anger.
Yeah.
Right? So just become aware of the anger in that moment. Okay, I'm uneasy again. I'm suffering again. I'm helpless again. Right? This much you can notice.
Yes.
And the moment you are able to notice this, tell yourself, this is how everyone suffers when they are in anger.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Because this you can do, इसमें आपको कुछ extra हेर फेर नहीं करना, no skill is required.
Yeah. Okay.
You know,
This sounds good.
yeah, so the way I am suffering in my anger and I'm feeling so helpless about it, running down in loops, this is how people suffer in their anger.
Yeah.
So using this, you can take 2 minutes in that moment, and you, as he was sharing, you inhale all the suffering people go through when they're angry and helpless in anger. Inhale
Yeah.
it, and you exhale, may everyone, including me, be contented and joyful.
Yeah.
This will really, I think, this can be done because this doesn't require anything.
Yeah. Being aware is pretty easier than separating it out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
बट ये फिर भी ये मुझे थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट लगता है कि मैं सबका कैसे ले लूं और
आप ना
ये
बिना एक्सपेरिमेंट के इसके बारे में सोचो भी मत, आप एक्सपेरिमेंट करो,
या
try it
एग्जैक्ट
out, test it out, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but if it works, for you to decide.
या
Experiment, you are a biologist, so you would, without experiment, don't buy into anything that I'm saying or any, she's a biologist, Nehal. So
stress management, we are taught to do it the other way around. They ask us to inhale peace and exhale नो द बैड इमोशंस. तो ये मुझे अलग लगता है कि मैं इनहेल कैसे करूं एंगर को.
आप करके देखो, मतलब I think this is the most wonderful practice one can have, because we don't have to do anything about whatever states are arising. We just make use of all the states that are there. Ugliness, all kind of ugliness, you can make use of it. So try it out, experiment it, and you will see what happens.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
It's good.
Thank you for putting it on.
I was going to say what worked for me initially. I think I told you about it before, Monica, about the mental noting. That like your moment-to-moment experience, just by giving it a label, it makes it more impersonal. So if you feel anger, and it's often an embodied sensation. So when you feel anger arising, then just call it anger. You make it impersonal then. Or if you feel jealousy, just call it what it is. Just label the experience as what it is. I remember when I did that, and I was doing it quite consistently, and I'd see that it would start breaking up the thought patterns. So what you're doing is you're breaking up the thought streams. So just by creating these little interceptions, just calling it anger, you don't get swept away. It's almost like I found it a very effective method. Now I do more like Atma Vicharya, so I question the nature of the sufferer ultimately. So whatever I go straight to the eye, but that was a very useful practice, and I think I would reincorporate it. But Nihal, that's also a potential suggestion. If you're feeling anger at the time, just call it anger. Just whisper it to yourself, anger, or if you're feeling whatever negative emotion, just label the emotion, and that sometimes takes a lot of the potency out of the emotion. So just try that if that helps.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. Yeah. So if we have time still, we can listen to something more, or if we can also do it next time, next Thursday. So how is it with everyone? If it's okay, we can spend 15 minutes more, or maybe at the other time. I'll go with the majority. If you can just, okay. Jasmine says yes.
I am leaving. I must leave.
Okay, Nehal.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.
I'm also done.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Raviji. Thank you for joining in. So I think let's do it next time then, so that more of us are here together.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Great. So have a good night and good evening. Thank you for joining, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.